Kettlebell Drenga. Rating season is upon us. The battle for the title of North American Champion returns to the Twin Cities for the 2024 WKSF North American Championship. Register today for your chance to fight for glory and claim your spoils. Registration is available now for only $80 with raffle prizes for all competitors and the opportunity to win cash prizes for the top performers. We will be back at the Athlete Lab in Little Canada, Minnesota on Saturday, September 28th, and accepting video submissions for online competitors. Go to TwinCitiesKettlebellClub.com to register today. Come, answer the call of battle. Join us and fight for your clan, fight for yourself, and claim your spoils and your glory. And may your name forever ring out in the Hall of Champions. Sign up today at TwinCitiesKettlebellClub.com. All right, welcome into this week's episode of the Platform Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kundi Wright, and I am happy to welcome in my guest, Tiffany Langcor. She is also known as Fitness on Instagram and everywhere that you can give a follow, and she has her own podcast as well. Tiffany, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, happy to be here. Glad it worked out.
Yeah, me too. What's the name of your podcast? It's the Fitness Podcast, is that right?
Yeah, it's Fitness Podcast.
All right.
Part of our podcast exchange program, right?
Yeah, exactly. So she's coming on mine first, and then I'm coming on hers. So if you guys want to hear me get interviewed by somebody for once, Tiffany's going to interview me in a week, I think, something like that. So
like next week sometime.
Nice. So we'll start first. What I always like to ask people is, tell me your origin story. How did you get into this crazy world that is kettlebell sport?
Really, it started like early days of Instagram. So I was like working out at home. I had moved back home after college due to a series of unfortunate events. So I ended up back home, and I was just running in my parents' like on their treadmill. Like that's all I was doing. And I had been an athlete in college, so I was like, well, I know I need to add strength back into like the routine. All I'm doing is running. I'm hurting myself, whatever. So I like went and Googled, what should I get for a home gym? And kettlebell popped up. And so I got a kettlebell. I got like one of those orange Walmart kettlebells, and it was real crappy.
High quality.
Yeah. I got one of those. It was 25 pounds, and I like watched a bunch of things on the internet. And at some point, like after that, I joined Instagram, and I went and searched kettlebell, and I ended up following Kim Fox, Brittany, Katie Thippert, like all of the kettlebells, like all sorts of people, Kelly Manziel, also all sorts of people that were just in the sport. And I was like, oh, is this what we do? Because all I had done was I had just been watching like Pop Sugar videos, and like that's how I had started. And I just was like, oh, I guess this is what we do with kettlebell. I managed to not follow like any hardstyle people. Like,
how does that happen?
I don't know, because and then Fox had commented on one of my very first videos I ever posted on Instagram. I was doing like a clean and stuff, and she was like, do this, and so I saw that she had like done a lot of kettlebell, so I went and followed everyone that she followed. So I managed to follow the people who did sport, and I was like, oh, cool. And I was working out in like a little mountain gym, and they didn't have sport bells, obviously, but I was still trying to learn how to do the sport technique on my own. Somewhere in there, I became a personal trainer myself, and my husband and I, he's my boyfriend at the time, but we were looking at where we were going to move because we didn't want to live in the mountains anymore, and San Diego was one of the places we were looking. And I posted on my Instagram that I was going to go to San Diego and Pete, so he's not really very much on the internet anymore, but he tagged literally every single person at this gym called Core. And would like, you have to go visit there. And I was like, I had like this like little guy had like all this source of peer pressure. And she tagged everyone. He tagged Kristen, Dan, he tagged all of them. And I was like, I guess I have to go. My husband's like, we're on vacation, like we're just checking it out. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go check it out. I'll go. I would like do like a 6 a.m. workout with Dan. And I got there. I was like, this is like shit. I'm like, this is so cool. It was like a garage gym. I never worked out in a gym like that before. And I finished the workout with Dan, and it was just like a regular hard style workout. And I was like, I think we're going to move down here, because at that point we kind of like committed. We're like, I think this is where we want to go. And I think I want to do sport. And he was like, sport's like really hard. So like, just want to like give you that heads up as you're coming in, like hard sport to get into. Like, just like, I want to like mentally get you ready for that. And I was like, yeah, I can do hard things. Like when I was an athlete in college, I did all sorts of hard things. And several months later, I moved down. Ended up doing the kettlebell sport coaching with Brittany, and did the kettlebell core team, and that's, the rest is history.
Nice. All right, so give me time frame here a little bit, because you said the early days of Instagram, which really depends on like depending on when you became aware of it. Like, so I early days of Instagram. What are we talking about? Like 2008? We talking 2006?
No, not that early. Early days of my kettlebell, it's the Right Mind Fitness Instagram, because it wasn't always fitness. At first, it was just me like tracking my food, because I had lost weight and I was trying to figure, and I was like kind of at where I needed to be. I still wanted to keep myself accountable, so it's probably like 2015 at that point. So not like super early, but earlier than what we're doing with here. So, So,
man, I've been doing this for 10 years now. I thought it'd be better.
Yeah, I mean, I had like my regular Instagram, but I didn't want to, like, I was posting on my like regular like friends Instagram. It was kind of like a secret. Like, I didn't want to tell people that I was like doing this thing. So I had my little secret fitness Instagram, and it was like Tiffany Fit. I mean, all of those posts are still there. I did not delete anything. If anybody wants to go see early days of me, it's rough, and the camera quality is bad. So it's a lot of selfies.
I mean, that's what you did, right? Like, you duck lips and stuff.
A lot of gym mirror selfies, and like me telling what I did for my workout. It was like, I did 20 minutes of stair stepper, and then I did a squat day, and then I practiced with kettlebell.
I mean, it kind of comes like I've got old Instagram accounts too that I've never gotten rid of for that exact reason, because I'm like, it's like old archival footage of like that you did before, like where you started your journey, and it is interesting to always go back and be able to look kind of at how far you've come, or in some cases how far you haven't progressed. At least in my case, I was actually just at Orange Kettlebell Club last night with John Wild Buckley and Dennis Vasiliev, and similar to how like when you pop by Core and you're like, oh, this place is great. Like my first time having been at Orange Kettlebell Club, and it just made me feel so like deeply happy, because I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like a garage, like you said, it's like a kind of Spartan garage gym. We rolled up the garage door, but it's like literally just built for kettlebell sport training, and like you got the squat racks and all the different stuff, but you got the back, all the platforms are there and everything. I was just like, I don't know, it just made me so happy walking in there. Like, it was just my jam. It is.
Yeah, because I went and competed there when I was at Core, and I've moved a couple times since then.
Where are you now? Are you in Colorado still, or are you Colorado?
No, I'm in Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My husband's in the Army, so it could be where they tell her.
So years you get a new post.
Yeah, so we were in San Diego prior to him. He was in the military. He got out, moved to San Diego, and then he re-enlisted, and then we moved to Colorado, which was not fun, and then now we're here in Washington, which is a lot more fun.
Nice. You like it in Washington better than when you're
I love the Pacific Northwest. I went to college in Humboldt, like Northern California. I've just been trying to figure out how I can get back up here since I left. And then more. It's a little different than where I was originally, obviously, but this is great. I have like a gym, and I'm near, like, my brother is like a couple hours north of here, so like there's lots of good stuff here. Also, the ocean. I am an ocean person, like, to my core. So like being in Colorado where there's just no ocean, no water was like just hard, emotional. Which I know sounds like very dramatic, but like there just wasn't anywhere for me to like go sit. Like if I'm having a rough day, it's one exit down, I can go drive and like go sit on a little beach where there's no one. And also I can walk to a lake. So there's some good here.
I mean, but to be fair, like you could have gotten like up a mountain too, and like go find somewhere to sit by yourself.
Go to a mountain. I don't care about the mountain.
You're the like
I lived in the mountains. I grew up in Yosemite. The mountains don't do anything for me.
it must be rough bouncing around from the Rocky Mountains to San Diego to the Pacific Northwest. Like it's a tough scene.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't like the mountains very much. I know everyone's like mountains, and I'm like, no.
I'm with you. Like, I mean, I like looking at mountains. They're pretty. Like, I like hiking. I like climbing. It's all good. But like, give me Minnesota. Like, I love my lakes. I love my forests. Like, I love the ocean too.
Forest. That's the other thing. Those forests. Yeah, I love the forests. I love the trees. Colorado didn't have any, like, it was just flat. Well, it wasn't flat. There's mountains, but like it was yellow.
Yeah. Well, if you're in the flatland, Colorado, like I have family from like Greeley and Sterling, which is out like that's oil territory, right? It's like when I tell people like, oh, I've got family out there, they're like, oh, Colorado's beautiful. I'm like, not the part I'm talking about. It is.
Hey, it was pretty. It was pretty. It was just not like for me. Like that's all. Like it just wasn't my place. It wasn't like my people. And there was no kettlebell scene. Like there was supposed to be. But the gym shut down during COVID. So, like, that's part of, like, Colorado. I was like, oh, cool, I got to go do that. And I went up there a bunch of times. But by the time there was comps still coming back, the gym was kind of dead in the water. So I was like, okay. But I didn't really ever get to do that part of Colorado out there. And that gym doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, COVID did that for a lot. Unfortunately, that was one of the really sad things of COVID. It killed a lot of gyms, particularly.
Yeah, and he was already shifting to more like Ollie lifting at that point prior to, so it just shifted entirely to Ollie. And I'd gone up there a few times. I did like my bench press stuff up there. Like the when I would go do like the 50K like kettlebell and stuff. It was Colorado Kettlebell Club, but it changed to Colorado Weightlifting Club. So those videos are from that gym. It just wasn't. It just wasn't for. I like the ocean and trees.
Well, now that we've pissed off everyone in Colorado, Wyoming,
no, I don't care. Fight me.
never not. You've got all your flags. I gotta ask that one always cracks me up. So you got your peace was never an option with a duck with a butter knife.
It's a goose.
Oh, is it a goose? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's from Untitled Goose Game. That's what it's from.
Okay, I have no idea.
Oh, it's a game. It's kind of a puzzle game, but you're basically a goose just kind of running around terrorizing a town. Specifically, a farmer. There's one farmer, and I believe that clip is from one of the farmer scenes. Is you can chase a farmer with the knife, but you're just like a little monster running around ruining everyone's day. It's so much fun. I'm very good at it.
I'm gonna have to check it out. So, do you buy all of these flags for yourself, or have people started like sending you random flags, or like?
No, not all the flags. I just honestly the piece was never an auction flag was kind of a mistake. Like I didn't mean for it to be this big of a thing. Like it's huge. That's a big flag. But I was in this room and it was white and the sun. Colorado has the worst sun. It's so aggressive with sun in here.
200 days of sunshine a year in Colorado.
Yeah, and I couldn't film. Like I was trying to do my video stuff for clients for like Instagram, and the sun was coming in a way where the video was just a nightmare to use. Like I couldn't film. So I was like, oh, I'll just get like a flag to like block the window. My husband had shown me some goofy gym video, and I saw this. So I Googled it. I was like, how do I get that flag? So I bought that and I bought my little Fitness flag. And that sort of just started it, but it just started as a, like a way to block the sun.
That was just a
And then,
practical thing, and now it became a thing.
yeah. And then I was like, well, now there's all the space. It feels goofy to just have two flags. So I got the no weenies flag because that felt like the right vibe.
Definitely true for kettlebell sport. Like,
And then,
they talk you out of kettlebell sport, and you're like, no, I can do this.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I get it. It is hard. And at that point too, I was like barely knew what I was doing. And I mean, to be fair, most of the people who I worked out with at Core don't do sport anymore. They don't like exist or anything. So like, it's just me still trucking along, doing it. So I get it. It is hard. But yeah, I just sort of built it out, and then I was like, well, that's for me. Just get that one, and here we are. Here's the wall. I have an empty space now, but
What's next? You've got
I had
got some real estate.
my brother does like laser engraving things, and he had made me a sign with like LED sign with my logo on it. But it fell off the wall. So we have an open space for the moment. It fell off the wall, and I couldn't find the plug. The plug went somewhere in the move, disappeared. So now I just have a square, which I don't know what it'll be. We'll figure it out.
Nice. So you mentioned that you played sports in college. What did you play? What you were an athlete?
I played soccer.
Okay.
I played goalie in soccer, and I played through my sophomore year of college, and it was fun. It got me through my first 2 years of community college. I really loved soccer for a long time, and then I had the coaches were not my favorite. Trying to. I played goalie, and I don't know if you know anything about kettlebells. Soccer. I know a lot about kettlebells.
I do know a bit about football.
But you get one of them on the field, right? There's one goalie on the field, and my coach was just like, he wouldn't cut anybody. So then there was 4 goalies, and so if somebody made a mistake, if you made a mistake, you immediately got pulled out. So it just like added this like extra anxiety when it was so
confident. Fuck up once, drops.
That's it, and that's it. Like, so like it was so stressful the whole time, and then there was a lot of other things, but like it just made it so not fun for that last like whole year. It was just why, like, if I mess up one catch, or if I like fumble one thing, it's just like you're off. And it's like not even if I like got scored on, like if you made a mistake, you're off, and it made it miserable. And additionally, I've been hit in the head a few times and had 2 concussions. And I had a girl on my team who was playing, and she had gotten hit in the head, more than me, or about the same time, not as me, but she got knocked out on the field. Fully knocked out, had to go to the hospital and everything. And I was like, oh man, I get hit more often and harder than she does. I don't want that to be me. Like at that point, we were still like, we hadn't quite figured out how bad concussions were. Yeah, I think it was right around the time, like right before the time that Will Smith movie came out, about the concussion. And I was like, think that I want that to be me. So I had some offers to play at some other colleges, but I was like, no, I think I'm done. Like between the coaching issues I've had, and also between the fact that I've been knocked pretty hard in the head a few times, I feel like that's it for me. And that's also why I've fallen in love with sports so much, is because I like winning. I like pushing myself. I like being competitive, and I can't do a contact sport. Like I don't want to get any more concussions in my head or anything like that.
Yeah,
that sounds like a bad move. So doing sport is a really good way for me to like get that competitiveness in without, if I just get a concussion doing sport, something's gone. So
yeah, you've definitely had a bad day in the gym. Do you have the experience? I've had this so many times when I go to a new doctor or whatever, and they're going through my medical history, and they're like, how many concussions would you say you've had? And I'm like, how many times have you gone to the bathroom in your life? Like, I have no idea. Like, the whole point of a concussion is like, when you get one, you don't remember things. I was like,
I know the ones that I've had that were bad. I had really bad ones. Where there was like trainers being like, don't let her fall asleep because that could be bad. But I've had like 2 really, really bad ones in the ring, and those are the ones I focus on. But also, I very rarely go to a doctor because I move a lot, and figuring out new doctors is really hard. I tend to focus on the like things that I know I need, like the dentist and the eyes. And then if I get actually sick, I go, oh, hopefully you don't die.
I'll just ride.
I'll take some NyQuil and hope for the best.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
All right, all the time.
So were your concussions from like coming out and challenging on like crossers? Is that mostly?
Yeah, I got kicked in the head. You come down, you do a tackle, and there's a knee into your temple.
Oh yeah. I suppose coming up to challenge on something that's loose. Yeah, I didn't.
Those were the two bad ones were from like coming out, and they were like pop. One was the knee, one was a cleat. Still bottom of a cleat because they were trying to get me. Yes. When I was in high school and it was like my freshman year of college, and that was about all I did on soccer because I got hit pretty hard pretty regularly, but they weren't where I was like, oh, when you stand up and you're like, oh, that was bad. You have that moment, you're like, oh, I think I gotta sit down. I need to stop.
Yeah. I know that feeling more than I would like to.
Football, right?
Yeah. I played football for 14 seasons, most of which was offensive line. And I'm even older than you, so it's before like we knew even less about concussions, and it was always the like, oh, you just got your bell rung, just walk it off.
Oh,
or
bell rung.
That's what we called it. You got your bell rung.
Yeah.
That meant you took a shot to the head, and like maybe your head hurt, or I played center, so I was the one responsible for snapping the ball, and like there were literally times where there was a couple of times, it's on film from college, there was a couple of times where I forgot the snap count and everybody else went, right? And so like I'm just standing there. Everybody else is like full start on everyone but the center, but I was the one who fucked it up because I was supposed to snap the ball, but I forgot the snap count, so I just didn't snap the ball.
Just panic.
Yeah, or you're just like, yes. And then everybody else knows that's a penalty, so there was that, and then there are a couple of games from college that like I don't remember the second half of, but I remember watching film of the second half. Like I played the second half, but I don't actually remember the game from like first person perspective. I remember it from watching film of me playing the game, and I was like,
that's not great.
Probably not great, yeah. But my offensive line coach like at one point told me I actually took myself out of a game because I couldn't remember the snap count. It happened multiple times. Like I couldn't remember what the play call was. I couldn't remember what the snap count was. And I was like, I'm gonna get somebody else hurt because I can't remember what the hell is going on. And so I actually took myself out of the game, and my offensive line coach, like on Monday, told me he watched the film 3 times and didn't see anywhere where I could have possibly gotten a concussion. So he didn't believe me that I had a concussion. He thought I'd quit on him. So I can relate to having hard ass coaches that are not just most understanding.
Yeah, coaching's always at this, like for sports teams, they could be great or they could like ruin your day and your team or your like sport career. Like
it could take something that you love and make you not. Just like
that's what happened.
By the time I finished playing college football, like I was in so much pain, part of it because like I played through so many injuries that I shouldn't have played through. So like by the end of my college football career, I was a shell of myself as a football player. And then I was also I just wasn't having fun as much anymore because like I would get to practice an hour before practice so that I could get things taped up and iced down and like heat it up and then I would go practice poppers, and then I would go after practice. I would literally trainers started bringing me a snorkel because I would literally just go like into the ice bath like up to my neck, and then they, as a joke, they started bringing me a snorkel because they're like, oh, maybe you need to get your head in there too,
Might as well.
Like it was not a lot of fun personally, but I was so pot committed at that point. I'd been playing for so long. I didn't want to quit my scene.
It's hard to stop when you're doing a thing. It was like a really tough decision to stop playing soccer, but it was definitely the right call. Like it was definitely the right one for me. But it was just, it was like gut wrenching because that was like who I was for such a long time. It's a big part
of your identity. That's what I was just gonna say. Like it's a huge part of your identity, and then like to leave off that part of your identity is really jarring and really, really challenging. And I think that's probably like, it sounds like that's why you gravitated towards sport. Like that's why I fell in love with kettlebell sport, because I was like, I need that competitive outlet. And if I don't have
I'm so competitive. I'm kind of an asshole if I don't have somewhere I could put this energy to. Like Pictionary gets really real if I'm not doing something where I can go actually be competitive. Oh, that's awful.
I think you and I are wired very, very similarly. It's a point where my wife gives me a hard time about like how I yelled at one of her friends during a drinking game in college because she messed it. She's like, "It's a drinking game. We're here, like we're like for having fun."
Like, stop yelling at me.
It was like, I still want to win.
Yeah, I like winning.
It's a problem. It's a problem. It can go too far, but I do love that about kettlebell sport, the ability to channel that focus and energy. You just competed recently, right? You went up to Seiko's competition at K2, right?
Yeah.
How'd that go? Tell me about it.
I did good, but not as good as I wanted to do. So it was a weird light lead up to it. I back spasm when I was doing my 10-minute test, which was very scary. So like the training had been doing pretty well, and I was hitting the number I wanted to hit, maybe a rep or two below, and I was like, whatever, it's fine. Let me just do this 10-minute test where I go full out. And on the literal second to last rep of my warm up, my whole left side of my back seized up, and I like went down hard. I was coming down. I put the bell down and just kind of like followed the bell, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing that's never happened to me.
Was this on Snatch?
Yeah, it was just on Snatch. It was super weird. Like everything felt so good too. Like that's the weirdest part of it. Like I slept really awesome. I ate like a really good meal the night before. Like I was like, this is gonna be a really good set. And so I went down. And my husband was gone, just the army. And so I was like by myself, and I called my friend Marion, and I was like, what do I do? Like,
we need to get you one of those like pendants, like Help I've Fallen, and I can't.
That's what it felt like. I was like, I've never felt more 30 than I do in this moment right now. This is the most 30 I've ever felt. And I figured out like it was just like this rotational movement that felt really bad. So like got up, and then I basically was down for a whole week. Really threw off my because it was 3 weeks out from the competition. And so I was like, okay, so I took the whole rest of that week off just to be safe. Felt fine. I took some leave, basically rested and had like a little acupressure mat. And I was, did my best, and I rested, and then I, got back and did my 10-minute test. Wasn't as good as it was going to be because I was babying my side. And I just like have been a little bit wary because that happened, and I felt that on the day of the competition. I felt myself not pushing as hard as I should have been because of that, because I was like, I'm just a little bit scared that I'm gonna do something and not I didn't push myself as hard as I could have. So I ended up with 188 reps, which is CMS good. I did good. I just didn't do because I was hoping.
What was the number that you were going in prior to the back thing?
I wanted 210. Because my PR I think is like 209. So I was like, if I can beat that. That'd be cool. And
That's just one rep. I love that. That's the right attitude going into it.
it's a great round number. So it's
Wow. Yeah,
perfect.
21 RPM for the full time.
Yeah. Or like even like what do you mean 22, 21? It'd be like 18, 19, and 21, 22, 22, 22, which I can do most of the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, this feels great. Like I can, and I love going fast with snatch. And so I just didn't, I didn't bounce back as hard as I would have liked to. But it was good. And then my grip went out on my left side with 30 seconds left. So that was really frustrating too because I've never
Never chucked one before. If you're not chucking, you're not trying. Come on, you got it.
Well, I always finish. So it was just really frustrating for me. But then I was looking back and I was like, you know what? Like I did good. Like I did.
That's I'm
Just
saying the EMS is always respectable. 180
that's
is respectable.
I got I mean there was another person in my weight class and I beat the other person in my weight class. So like I got first in that. So that's cool. Like it was like objectively there's a lot of good things. There are just a few things that I would like adjusted. Knowing now that one, my back is fine. Like I have not had any issues with my back. Since I also took like a week to kind of mess around afterwards and like really test my boundaries now that I'm not competing. And knowing like just like a few like how that went, like how I would have changed it. Would have gone another 20, 30 seconds on my right side. And that would have, like, if I could have done the 20 more seconds, I probably could have finished the whole set. So, like, there's some things I would have adjusted. But, like, objectively, I did a good job. Like, I'm not mad about the set. I was a little bit mad on the second I dropped the bell, which I think is natural. I don't think that's...
Did you switch to a survival snatch at the end, or were you still thinking you were in your full regular pendulum?
I was in survival snatch because it was the last minute. So I swapped in the last, like, 45 seconds usually is when I really swap so I can get those extra reps in.
Yeah.
And I dropped it. The guy said 30 seconds left, and the bell went down. So.
Well, at least you didn't chuck it at. Like, so it's the
no, it went straight down. It
when
went straight.
you're in survival snatch, at least it's going like up, down, up, out. As opposed to like I've lost one where like I was still in my full pendulum and like have sent it flying. You know, that's always super embarrassing, especially if you take out a $300 timer or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good set. Then like the moment I was really frustrated, and like a few minutes afterwards, I was frustrating, and then I was like thinking about it, and I was like, that was good. Wait a second. Like I did good. And like if I had like coached someone and they did that, I would have been really proud of them. So I have to, give myself that like coach brain and not like me competitive brain.
Yeah, it's hard to do that though. Like that's really challenging.
Hard. I am my
treat yourself like your own athlete, like to like compartmentalize and be like, okay, I'm gonna put on my coach hat and talk to myself, the lifter, and be like, and then like, no, you've really done a good job. Like, even everything you had on the day, like you clearly got every rep that you had in your body. Maybe you could have gone longer on your right hand. Okay.
Maybe there's adjustments we could make, but like also you did good. Objectively, it was a good job. It was my first competition in Parkland.
You won your weight class.
And I won. And it was my first competition in person since 2019. So like that was that too. Which like so like there's a lot of other like factors in it. Like
amped going into it because of being in person. Were you like hyped?
It was a different vibe for sure, because the last time I competed was in San Diego, 2019, and then, and so it was just like, it was like a little bit amped, so I went out a little bit too nervous. I should have gone a little slower, but I knew that was going to happen. So I had like planned for it. Like I knew I was, so like
when you didn't plan for it by slowing your pace down at the start, knowing that you don't want to come out too fast, you're just like, no, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think the first minute was 20 reps, which is fine for me at a 16:10. Like that's not like it wasn't like
that's not 24 hours.
Slow. Yeah, so like I kind of anticipated that it was gonna go like 20, and then it would probably hit 8, which is about what happened. What really messed up is I lost my momentum on one of my last snatches on my right side of it, and I, instead of trying to like yank it up, I just swapped it, which is probably smart like to do in case I messed up and then actually lost it. But yeah, so like I said, objectively, I did good. And like, as from a coaching standpoint, like if I was coaching myself, I would be proud of myself because I want to be better. I want to push myself. I want to be better. I was a little frustrated with how it turned out, so like I can't be bad about it. And it was a really good time. I genuinely did have a fun time doing it. Like I was enjoying myself. I got to lift next to Ola and Buffy. It was awesome. And so we were like, it was really cool to have like a full flight of people there. Like I've done that in a really long time. And my client who was there also crushed it. So like it was a really good day and I had a really fun time. And my nephew came, my little baby, he's like, oh, it's old. My brother and my sister-in-law and like loaded up their infant child come support. So like
no count.
Yeah, he's really mean, actually. He's really harsh. I was like, damn, like
You want to see some slack.
oh dude. That's not cool.
So I want to ask about the bench press because that is one thing that you're like I don't like semi-famous for, right? I love seeing you bench press, and you're really strong at it. First of all, so like good on you.
Yes.
How did you like start getting into like old timey strongman bench press? Like where did that come?
So way back when I first, like back when I was in that gym in the mountains in Oakhurst, that I saw someone on Instagram do it, and I was like, well, it's not that fun. That looks very cool. And he got like a video about how to do it. And I mean, obviously I did badly. I've definitely used that video, the first video I ever had of me bench pressing. And I just come down and I side press it. But I was like, that's fun. And so I had like scattered it in for a very long time. And then I was working at Core and I was doing some sort of heavy get up. I was doing a 32 Turkish get up. And I had been doing that presses randomly, and I had put it in the comments or in the caption, like, I wonder, like, I think I want to try to do like a 28 bench press, see if I can do that, which I had never done before. And somebody in the comments was like, well, if you can do a Turkish get up, you can definitely do it for bench press. You just try it with the 32. And I was like, okay. And I did it. And I was like, well, that was very, well, that felt really good. And at that point, I had like battled the technique to the point where I wasn't like pressing it from the side, which would have been impossible for me at 32. And with, and I just been doing it. Like, it was just like a thing I was doing. And then when COVID hit, I was at home. My friend Dan was like, you should just try like doing bench presses. Like you're like objectively very good at them without training, without like having like that any focused energy on them. Just here's like, he like sent me like a program thing, and it was like, it's 1 day a week. Just give it a shot. And I was like, so I did. And I was having so much fun with it. This is so much fun. Like, I really like, I like
It's a fun move.
it has a good groove to it when you get it down really well. And I know a lot of heavy bench pressers don't like doing reps, but I love that feeling of that grind of the reps. And so I just started doing it, and then I finished that like the 1 day a week thing, in like with doing my 20K like CMS snatch set. Like, I had done both of them at about the same time, and I was like, that was pretty fun. I'm like, okay. And then he's like, well, what about this 2 day a week? So I just like, I was like, okay, well, I can do 2 days a week, and then I can still do sport. And then I was like, I'm having a lot more fun like with this heavy fun lifting than I was with my sport stuff. And I still love sport, but like really I grinded with that 20K like snatch set. Like, that was hard. But it's kind of fun to like do a thing that's like hard but also not 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's more raw maximal strength, so it's not strength endurance as much. Although you're sprinkling in some strength endurance because you're grinding reps, which
Yeah, I do.
people don't. But
And I think that's just because of my sport. I think the sport in me, like, I can do more than 3 reps.
yeah, I'm not like in a puddle on the ground after this, though. Maybe I need to try harder. maybe it's just
I know. And that was such a huge difference from my sport background too, was the resting. Because with sport, your rests are like to the amount of time you said is at the most usually. Like, and you're trying to shorten that rest always. So you're
trying to put yourself in oxygen, you get getting over threshold.
So coming into like a heavy lift like that, I was really like I was doing rest like that, and then Dan was like, "You gotta rest." Like, yeah, obviously you can't do your nap.
2 to 3 minutes to replenish that 8.
Well, even more sometimes when I'm lifting like 90% of my naps. Like, sometimes I'm resting like 5-6 minutes. It's more if it's like a PR test day. So I was like, that's weird. Like, it's so weird to like rest for such a long time.
Yeah.
So that was a big adjustment. But yeah, and then I was like, this is fun. I like being good at something. I like winning. And I was just having such a good time doing it. And eventually I kind of moved beyond the kettlebell because I had to go drive an hour to go find the kettlebell that I could lift to be a max. So I should have.
So now you switch to the barbell, and that has a whole other dynamic challenge to it because it's so much wider of an implement. Like, the center of mass is so wide and it's unbalanced, right? And especially as for people that aren't familiar with bench presses, as you're leaning to your side, right? Like, it's really hard to keep a barbell level when you're doing that, and it's so much further outside.
A lot of grip, a lot of wrist strength, and it's the grip not in the way for sport. Like, it's an entirely different grip that I do for sport because, like, sport, you're doing a lot of things right in the pocket of your hand, and for grip for this way, you're holding it like up, so it's just a different. It feels different. So like my grip training didn't really cross over at all, despite my grip being like I think probably better than the average person. It didn't do anything.
Completely different grip expression. I could definitely see that. Did you find did bench pressing, all the focus on bench pressing, did it help you on the platform for kettlebell sport? Did you find it help in other lifts?
No, it's so specific. I think like my dog, she thinks that she needs to be involved.
That's it.
The door. She not really. Like, so if I'm doing snatch, I feel like there's a little bit of crossover because like it's a lot of lat and you're doing a lot of lat for snatch. But I found that I like really can't do like biathlon, jerks, long cycle, and bench pressing. It's just too much for me. It's just like too much volume, too much, like my body was just, I couldn't, there was no time to recover. Because I generally end up doing like a 2 and 2 at this point. Like I'm doing like 2 days of bench pressing and then like a couple days of sport. I'm doing 1 as of now, but I just started this program, so that's subject to change. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover and like a max effort strength and then like an endurance strength, except for me being able to grind out reps. And like being able to like push myself, I think, because sport really more than anything gives you mental fortitude. Like there's a lot of good like physical strength you're gonna get from doing kettlebell sport, but I think what's most significant about sport for me is how strong mentally you have to be to do 10 minutes, because your brain is going to be like, this is really hard, you should put these bells down. Like
you're dying. This is gonna
why you don't have to do this, you could just stop right now.
Your shoulder hurts, your back hurts,
you're bleeding right now, you should stop. So I know, like, from doing sport for so long, how much I can push my body And I think that's been very beneficial crossover wise. Like I can ride. I know if I'm here and like it hurts and it's grindy, but I know that I can push myself
can finish it.
and I can finish the rep. But like strength wise, doesn't feel like there's a huge amount of crossover outside of like lats and things like that. Because I had to fully stop doing when I was doing biathlon a couple of years ago. I had to like stop doing any sort of heavy bench pressing because my body was like, no, we're not doing that. No.
Too much volume.
We're really tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired all the time. It was just bad.
Now, this is a very nerdy specific question, but how do you bail on a bench press, the barbell, when you're like, if you like, nope, you just chuck it forward? Okay.
So it depends on where you are in the lift. So if you're like in this back pocket area, and it starts to wobble, and you kind of know at that point, you just sort of like let it go and you step forward.
Yeah.
And then if you're up here, and then whichever way it's kind of going, bail it forward, bail it back. I did a few videos of me bailing like a bunch of bails because some days it's a lot of bailing. It's a lot of and so there's some workouts where it's not great.
That's what max strength takes, right? Like I can't tell you how many times when I was powerlifting, like you have to learn how to bail because like if you're going for max squat, like there's going to be times you're going to crash it, right? Like that's pushing it to the limit.
When I'm coaching bench press, that's one of the like early things that I teach people on, like pretty early. As soon as we get to a point where it's like legitimately heavy and like pushing them, we learn how to bail because you don't want to be stuck here and not know what to do. Because if you don't, it's going to come here. And I think it's actually easier to bail with a bar than it is with a kettlebell.
Yeah, I can see that because you're not inserted into it. So yeah,
I mean, like with the kettlebell, you kind of just like catch it.
Yeah,
it's whatever, and I know that I can catch that and it's fine. But the bar, you kind of just. And the main thing with a bar is like knowing that you have the space in order to do it. Like I can't bench press in this room. Like I don't want to. I mean, I'd probably hit the ceiling to start because with the weights, there's any sort of wobble. But if I fail, there will be holes in the wall, and the army will be mad at me. And I don't want them to be mad.
No, you do not.
No. But yeah, it's really just you really at that when you're going to a point where you're gonna bail, you kind of just like know where it's going. You're like, oh, just let it go, and you just step out of the way.
Nice. So pivoting a little bit to your coaching, are you coaching kettlebell sport? You're coaching bench pressing. What all do you coach?
I coach everything that anybody would let me coach. If you need a coach, I will make it happen. But really, I coach a lot of sport athletes, especially like beginner sport athletes. I really love those beginning like months of like learning how to do the lifts and like getting to help people find those moments where it all clicks.
Yeah,
love that. So I work with a lot of I work with a lot of people as like probably their first coaches, which I love to be. And then I have some bench press people. Though at the moment actually, but I have had some bench press people. And then some juggling, which my juggling side.
Right, I forgot juggling.
I do some juggling, but I don't do like sport style juggling. So it's really just like teaching people like how to do the movements and like how to incorporate them into like flows for like fun. I'm not continuing.
You're not doing competitive juggling.
No, I juggling for me is more like meditative, like kind of like finding time and like getting one with your body. Like so I know I'm sounding very hippy dippy when I say things like that.
I love it.
But for me, juggling is a competitive thing, and I know that there's a lot of competitive just in it, and I have a lot of friends who do it. But I'm very competitive in a lot of things, and I need something that I can just go be good or bad at. Like if I have a bad day of juggling, it's not going to ruin my day. It's still pretty fun. So when I coach juggling, it's more like styling and movements, and then like how do you flow or fake movements to that and sort of thing like that versus like building out like a program. the programs like what they do for like competitive juggling. And then general strength clients, like people just trying to get stronger with their squats and their deadlifts. And a lot of people who work out from home, so you can with it. I can make that work and making it work for their time. So a lot of the people I work with don't have 2 hours to do training, which I think is true of most people. And you see a lot of the people on the internet going, I spent 3 hours at the gym today, and I don't want to spend 3 hours working out. I have other things.
I'd love to. I don't have it. Yeah, I don't have it.
I mean, every now and then it's fun. Yeah, every now and then it's fun to go spend a really long time at the gym. But generally, I kind of want to just do it and like spend like focused time on my workout and then be done with it and go move on with my day and, you know, hang out with my dog, my husband, maybe break something or play Baldur's Gate or whatever. Yeah, you know, let's play. Then worrying about that.
I need to go win in something. To win in something.
A little bit. So yeah, I'm pretty good at Baldur's Gate now, so I am winning. Yeah, so it's a lot of like general strength and then sport. So I do a little bit of everything, and just try to really meet people where they are and make training something that they're looking forward to, versus something that they feel like they have to do. Because I feel like a lot of times people come into training thinking that it's going to be like a punishment or that something that they have to do, and I don't think that that's what training should be. Some days it's going to suck. Like, it was very clear. Some days you're going to be like,
if you're trying to push yourself, it's not always going to be easy.
Yeah, and I think that's fine, and I think there's like a joy in that as well. But
at the end,
if you're going, yeah, but if you're every single day looking at your training going, God, sucks. Like maybe you should look at your training.
Yeah.
Like be like, is this what I actually want to do, or am I doing this because somebody on the internet said this is what I'm supposed to be doing? And work from there. So I really like to like make training something that's like part of the routine, that's consistent, and then when it is hard, it's like, well, I'm gonna do it anyways. Like it's already part of the routine. I'm not gonna well do it. Yeah, I'm already here, so I might as well finish it. That's half of my strategy, and I'm gonna kind of force it anyway. And I'm already doing it.
I think there's a part of that too, like and this took me a little while to get to, and I didn't even realize that I was doing it for a while. Like, yeah, the training because you hate your body as opposed to training because you love what your body can do, right? Like shifting that mindset, and it's like I'm not here to punish myself. I'm not here because I hate the way I look. I'm not here because like shifting that mindset of being like, well, training is a thing that I do because it helps me deal with something that I don't like about myself, as opposed to, no, this is a celebration of what my body is capable of. And like, even if I don't love the way that, like, cause I don't know about you, but like I've been pretty open about, like, I've had eating disorders and things like that. So how I feel about my body is always really, really hard. Like, I have gotten to the
some days it's still hard. Like some days it's still like, I'm not punishing my body today. Like it's that you still have to like be aware and check in with yourself.
Well, a lot of times I have to do it post training too, where I'm like, yeah, today wasn't my best day, or like, yeah, I didn't do what coach programmed for me today to the letter. Like I wasn't able to hit pace on all 6 minutes, or I wasn't, or whatever. And like, and I think you and I are wired very similarly in the mental space, where I'm God damn it, I'm mad at myself, like, and because I didn't hit the numbers, and then I'm like, I failed, I didn't win today, or I didn't, I'm like, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But then I have to like step back and I put my coach hat on, right? And I switch, try, and I'm like,
you did good for 3 of the sets though.
I should, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I showed up and I did a thing, and I'm like. And then I look at the math and I'm like, I still did 8,000 kilos of volume today, or whatever the number is. And I'm like, that's more than most humans will do all week, right? Like, I'm like, and I'm just like, that's more than most people are capable of, or, and I'm like, I just have to be like, yes, I'm not catching Ivan Markov like ever, but like, that's okay, right? Like, who cares, right? Like, I'm still showing up. Like, I still did something that a lot of the end, like,
1% better than I was last time.
Well, even just like, even like, and this is the other thing for me is as I keep getting older, like everybody's getting older, obviously, but like I know there's going to be degradation.
But I feel it in my body more than anyone else does, so I get it.
It's like there's gonna be degradation of what you're capable of, and it's just slowing that rate of decay as much as possible. But it's also like I always look back like, oh, God, I used to, I could do this on the 24s before. I'm like, yeah, you were 30 then, right? Like, like you're 11 years older now, and so like there's some of that too. And I'm always like trying to just be like, hey, just celebrate what your body is capable. Celebrate that you are still capable of these things, because like I've had enough of those moments where like I've had shoulder surgery and I've had injuries like where it's like I wasn't sure I was going to be able to lift a 32 kilo bell again. Like I jerked 234s yesterday, right? Like that was cool, and that was just to see if I could still jerk, the 34s, and yeah, it was like they went overhead just fine. Like I wouldn't do more than like 10 to 15 of them, but like I like.
But you still do it.
I
and
can
that's
still do
really
it.
cool.
Right? Yeah,
That's a lot of weight to put over your head. Like that's super impressive.
It's just that battle like between the ears. I think is always the hardest thing.
Also, you're saying just for like 10 or 15 reps, like that's like such like a normal amount of reps being just such a sport thing. I love people that are gonna like. I know, I get it, but like I was just
I mean, I'm 200 pounds. Like that's not like it's not the same percentage of me. Like it's apples and oranges. Like,
no, but it's just such a funny amount of reps for you to be like, it was just 10 or 15 reps when most people are doing their workouts for like 5 reps. So like the amount that you did on any scale is so impressive. And you stop and you're like, I did a good job today. I did good today. Yeah.
Well, someone was like, I'm there with John Wild Buckley, who's a fucking monster. Like I don't know if you've ever met John. John's huge, and he's a legend in the sport. So like he can just toss around weight like it's no big deal. So I'm like, yeah, I can't wuss out in front of John.
Yeah, and you compare yourself to other people too. I think with a lot of things that you like click on the internet and people go, well, I mean, Dennis is doing this. And you're like, you're not Dennis. You're not. Stop it. This is his whole job. This is all he does.
Dennis,
like,
I don't 100%.
Yeah. I've had clients come in a lot. They, like I said, we're pod dinners, and they look at what these big, like, strong, lifetime lifters are doing, and you have to go, this is your first 10-minute set, and this is your first training cycle. You can't do what he's doing. This is what he does. This is his whole life. You also are like working a full-time job, and you have a child, and you have to do yard work, and you have to do all of these other things that like his job is this, and he's awesome at it. Like, and things like me, like my job is coaching. Like I obviously am gonna have the more time than the average person to go do my stuff because I can do my stuff whenever. I have a home gym, fully stocked home gym, and I can just train whenever. Like if I have a full day of clients, I can still get my workouts in because I can take 20 minutes in between and do a couple supersets or something, which is hugely like a huge privilege to have versus like a person who has kids and a full-time job. It's like they only have 30 minutes for themselves the whole day. And like recognizing that as you're coming into training, and being the first to be like, let's put that a little bit in perspective. So what you're doing right now is you're being very impressive. You're doing super cool things, and you're very strong. You're stronger than a lot of people are ever going to be. And you're doing it while balancing all these other things. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, giving people that like permission to love themselves and give themselves the pat on the back and like accept, where they are and be proud of what they're doing. And like just talking with, I have to say, like just talking with Dennis yesterday, one of the things that I don't think people fully appreciate about how great Dennis is his mental game. Like he will do an entire year of training. He will have an entire cycle of training because he's at such a high level that he will do an entire year of training where he has not missed a day on his entire program for an entire year to go back and compete one time a year where he's trying to add 1 rep to his PR. 1. Like, can you imagine the level of dedication that it takes to be like that dialed for that long? And he's done that year after year after year. All right. Well, we're getting close to time. I want to be respectful of your time. I'm I'm gonna give you the question I always ask. So as a coach, if you are starting someone that's brand new, and you can give them only one tip, like if somebody's like, I can't afford you as a coach, but what's one tip that you would tell me to get started? Like, what would be the one thing that you would tell a new lifter as they're starting their kettlebell, or even just their fitness journey? Like, what would be the one tip that you would give somebody that's starting their fitness journey?
Consistency doesn't mean doing 100% every day. Consistency just means doing something every day, or 5-6 days a week. It doesn't have to be 100%. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just doing something, and doing a thing is going to be better for you than doing nothing. Something always better than doing nothing.
Love it. That's great. That is something I often tell people, because that is the third thing. Perfectionistic, like, oh, I have to do everything.
It's a conversation I have weekly. It's like, I didn't do it. I didn't hit my numbers. But I should do something. All right. Well, something. You did the thing. That's what we celebrate, doing the thing. Like me and my people.
Love it. I love it. Well, Tiffany, how do people get at you? How do they follow you? What's the give the
Tiffany's Fitness on everything. Tiffany's.fitness on Instagram and TikTok. But basically, if you search Tiffany's Fitness, you'll probably find me. The podcast is Tiffany's Fitness. You'll be on it soon. We could talk more about you instead, so that'll be fun.
I don't know, maybe for you. I don't know. I don't know.
And yeah, that's really it. And then my website is also Tiffany's Fitness, and if you have questions, .com. Questions or anything, you can reach out to me via email or Instagram, and I am pretty good about responding about 5 days a week.
Nice.
If you message me on the weekends, I'm much less likely to respond. I try to take my time off on the weekends and night.
Everyone deserves a week.
Yeah. I can't be on social media all the time. I'll trash people.
That's a whole other rabbit hole.
We could do that. We could do that online. We can do that.
All right.
It's a teaser. It's a teaser for the other podcast.
Yeah. We'll talk about the pitfalls of social media on the Tiffany's Fitness podcast.
Perfect. Because it's a lot broader over there. It's a less sport, more whatever the hell I feel like talking about. So
I definitely go off the reservation here. I try and keep it a little focused, but. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much. Obviously, I had a blast. My face hurts. I've been smiling and laughing. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And we'll put all the links in the episode notes so you guys can get at Tiffany, and go check out some of her videos. Seeing her bench press 135 pounds and more. What's your PR on bench press?
50 kilos. No, 150 kilos. So 110 pounds. No. 150 pounds would be really cool. We're working our way up. We're getting
maybe we'll see.
It's on the long-term goal list. So I gotta
love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany. We'll talk soon. We'll be on the podcast in a week or so.
Yeah, see you then.
Good to see you.